Hello and welcome to SHRP Talk, the show by washed up athletes for washed up athletes looking to be their best self. On today's episode, ripped another solo episode just talking about identifying a purpose for training beyond your athletic career. Dove into why it's pretty clear what you're training for as an athlete, but that gets a little more murky after your athletic career is done. It can be tough to be motivated to continue showing up to train and stay active and healthy day in and day out. So get into some practical tools for identifying some foundational pieces of identifying your purpose for training, as well as identifying some side quests, some challenges, some small rocks that keep it engaging and fun and keeping you showing up. And I identify how I personally applied these principles to establish the foundation for why I continue to show up and train and continue to enjoy it day in and day out. So hopefully provide some actionable steps for you to clearly define why you should train if you don't have that defined for yourself. Hopefully people who want to be healthy for their whole life to clearly define that so you don't go through waves of consistency and inconsistency, just making it a lifestyle and having that foundation so you can pursue health and movement and exercise on a consistent basis and reap the rewards of that because there are plenty from physical, mental, spiritual side. So hopefully there's some takeaways, some things to think about, some action steps you can take from this episode. I appreciate you tuning in and hopefully you enjoy.
Before we get rolling with today's episode, I want to take a minute to tell you about SHRP Training. Snyder Health, Recovery, and Performance Training is designed for former college athletes to improve their physical, mental, and spiritual health. For only $12 a month, you can choose a training plan that is catered to your needs, interests, and goals, with new programs delivered each month through the TeamBuilder app. You'll also receive 24/7 messaging and feedback from coaches, access to an exclusive Discord to continually learn and be encouraged by others, a 20% discount on Thorne supplements, and access to the Sharp Edge, the ultimate guide to upgrading your diet, sleep, and life. Iron sharpens iron, so let us help you become your sharpest self. Now let's go.
And we're back with another edition of SHRP Talk. Another solo edition of the podcast, as you can see if you're watching the video version on YouTube or Spotify, joined by only myself once again, having to do this solo edition once again sooner than expected, but we're back today going to talk about finding purpose in training after your athletic career, which has been a recurring theme throughout the podcast. Some personal anecdote from myself and my brothers, how we've kind of navigated that post college career, as well as from our guests. It's been fun to hear from a bunch of former athletes that we've had on how they like to stay active, what kind of their why has been post athletic career and staying active. And so it's been, it's something we've hit on a lot, but going to hit on again and going to continue to do so just because it is so important, just staying active, staying healthy throughout, not just your 20s and 30s, but throughout the rest of your life. And I think that starts with having a why, having a purpose and a foundation for why you continue to show up day in, day out to stay active, stay fit, stay healthy on a consistent basis. So if that's you, if you kind of go through waves of motivation, maybe you're dedicated for 2 or 3 weeks and then kind of fall off the wagon, or maybe set a New Year's goal and by now you've kind of lost sight of that. This can maybe be something to hopefully spark some motivation, short term, long term, just a sustaining why on staying active, staying healthy, and continuing to make exercising and training a priority post athletic career. So we'll kind of see where this goes. As an athlete, you kind of had a clear why for training, pursuing a championship or having accountability from teammates, or you kind of just forced to as a result of being a high school or college athlete. And, I've personally, I always have pretty much always loved training, but even I have questioned post-athletic career, kind of what I'm training for and what the why is. And I feel like I've reached a point where I've kind of had that established. And so I could maybe share some personal insights from that. But yeah, even me, for someone who it's one of my favorite things in the world to work out, I've questioned this at times. So I'm sure we all have. And yeah, this can just be some insight into that. So, like I said, as an athlete, training is kind of a means to an end. You want to get stronger and faster and better for competition, pursuing a championship, or just being the best version of yourself on the field, on the court. There's you clear set goals, championship or winning games, making a starting lineup, um, hitting a PR, reaching a certain threshold with your body weight or certain weights for lifts or speeds or jumps. So yeah, it's kind of clear what you're training for. You don't have to question it. It's just kind of part of being an athlete. You have a built-in support system with coaches there to encourage you and program for you, teammates to hold you accountable and push you, and people to compete with, as well as just having a structured um, programs to follow, programming written for you. It's pretty clear what you're doing for that day. You kind of go in knowing what to expect. You have that external accountability from, you skip workouts, it's probably not going to turn out too well, whether that's punishments or coaches holding you, coaches, teammates holding you accountable. And then, not even speaking about the resources. You have a set weight room to train in all the time, as well as nutritional plans and resources. Just so many things that make it pretty clear and not necessarily easy, because it's still hard to show up every day and give it your best as an athlete. But it's you have a clear mission, a clear purpose, and structure to keep it sustainable and consistent. And I think a lot of the fun and the joy that at least I personally experienced, but I think a lot of former athletes experience as well in that training, isn't necessarily always the workouts themselves, but just having a group of people to train with and grow with and mess around with. It's just fun to have a group of people to pursue a shared goal with, that who not only encourage you and push you, but you can also provide that for them as well. And then all of a sudden, when you're done, that camaraderie, that accountability disappears, and you kind of have to go it yourself. Um, Once you're done with your athletic career, there's a lot of freedom that comes with that. We've spoken on that before. You can train however you want. You don't have to do, if you don't want to put a bunch of weight on your back and squat it, ass to grass, butt to grass, whatever it is, you don't have to. You can skip the leg day and just crank out arms if you want. There are certain exercises or movements you hated, you can skip out on that. If you don't want to run long distances anymore, you don't have to. And it also frees you up to, pursue those things. Maybe you didn't do a bunch of Olympic lifts in your high school or college training, then you can pursue that. Or maybe you do want to get into long distance running and you've never had the chance to. It provides that opportunity to kind of, you kind of learn what you like, what you don't like throughout your athletic career, and you figure out what maybe you want to pursue once you're done. But that freedom can be a double-edged sword in a sense. You, again, don't have those people to push you. You don't have programming already set in stone for you, which again can be good or bad, but it is nice just showing up and having it handed to you, exact movements and weights you're doing. That can be a love-hate relationship depending on the type of person you are, but definitely saves you time and effort from having to do that yourself. You don't have that built-in environment to train in. You don't have that high school or college weight room that's kind of handed to you. Got to figure out what environment you want to train in going forward, whether that's a home gym, apartment gym, like a Crunch Fitness or Snap Fitness, or maybe it's some sort of group classes, or maybe you just don't want to do any of those and you just throw it all to the side. And then with that freedom, like we hit on with the goal, you don't have a clear goal to chase, and that training becomes, rather than chasing something external like a trophy or that goal you're chasing, it becomes pretty much 100% internal. And if you're not internally motivated, it's hard to keep showing up. um and yeah, even like the financial side, you have to pay for gym membership. You have to pay you don't have nutrition resources anymore, and you got to buy your own protein powder and eggs, which aren't exactly cheap. So it's tough to continue living that healthy lifestyle after uh, your career is done. And I mean, for me, like I said, once I was done with my college football career, like I said, I've always enjoyed training. I knew I would continue to train and enjoy it, but I wrestled with the purpose and why I was continuing to show up every day a little bit. And I realized how much I depended on having that social aspect and having people to train with and grow with. That was something I really enjoyed. And I think that's why I fell in love with it in, junior high and high school, is just getting to hang out with my friends and having upperclassmen encourage me. And, when you get stronger and set PRs, you have people there to cheer you on. And then all of a sudden it's kind of, an audience of one. I was training by myself at my own times, and again, having that freedom to train when I wanted was nice, but also having to go it alone is tough, and it just wasn't as fun by myself in a sense. Not having people to push you and socialize with, and even like the weights, like being able to, I feel like when you have a group of people to compete with, or people yelling at you or screaming at you, it's a little easier to hit those heavy weights and get those done. But having to find that internal motivation to do that can be a lot tougher. And I know I struggled with it. And yeah, like the programming just, it was fun to dabble in that, especially as like a strength coach, figuring out how I want to program for myself and for my own goals. But like I said, it's nice just showing up. Hey, here's the card, stick to it, roll through it. Um, and yeah, you can just focus on giving your best effort for that hour, whatever it is, and going on with the rest of your day. Whereas now you kind of have to go in and have a plan, because I know, like, I would try to just kind of wing it. Maybe there's people out there that still do that or do the same thing every time, but that either leads to just unproductive workouts because I'm kind of left thinking, okay, what do I want to do next? Really have a plan here. I don't know what rep set scheme to do. It's it can be unproductive, or if you're doing the same thing every time, it gets pretty stale. So uh, I've I found more pleasure in the actual workouts and showing up more prepared with a plan, but that also takes time and effort to put a program that works together and something you can follow together. So again, a lot of give and take with that freedom aspect of being able to train on your own after your college career is done. From the psychological side, I mean, there's kind of an identity crisis for a lot of people. A lot of people's purpose and kind of well-being is based off of their performance and their identity as an athlete. But training isn't just a physical thing; it's a huge part of mental well-being, self-confidence, daily structure, and without consistently training after your athletic career, that can kind of come to bite you, and you lose that motivation, not only in training, but even it can cross over into other areas of life and, getting out of shape, getting slower, weaker, kind of losing confidence and self-esteem with that, and even losing some discipline that you once had instilled that kind of gets lost, and that leaks into a bunch of other areas of life. Um, and I feel like a lot of, especially former athletes, kind of all or nothing. Like again, like I said, going really hard for 3 weeks with a new training regimen or diet regimen. Um, you're motivated by this kind of new shiny toy, kind of like that championship trophy when you're an athlete. And then all of a sudden, that motivation, that fun side of it kind of wanes and you kind of question why you're doing it. And then with that all or nothing, you just stop showing up at all. So, kind of leads to like yo-yo motivation, going hard for a period, then falling off, and trying something new, and then falling off again, and it's kind of just waves, and it's hard to make progress with that, or yeah, just develop consistent habit and routines with that. And I think establishing that purpose, that why, can lead to more sustainability, more consistency, and overall better physical, um, mental, spiritual, overall well-being. So that's kind of um, it's kind of general perspective on some different ways of looking at it. Now, kind of how I have approached that and how I personally found a purpose and overall knew why for training beyond sports, and yeah, it can maybe provide a framework for you to think about going forward. So staying consistent after sports, you need to find and clearly define that new purpose. And this is where there's kind of two different categories for defining this: things that keep you showing up every day and motivated and enjoying that pursuit of staying healthy and active. And I think it's kind of big rocks, big foundational pieces, your deep rooted, long term reasons for staying in shape, kind of your why for staying healthy and showing up. What are the most important things to you? What's your foundation for why you continue to exercise and push to be your best self? And then also with that, we also have kind of smaller rocks, kind of side quests, as I've heard it term, which I really like. Just kind of goals along the way that you can pursue, tangible goals, whether that's um, certain numbers or a physique or events to pursue, kind of a blend of those. So kind of the foundation as well as side quests to enjoy and chase for that keep you coming back. So getting into those big rocks, those foundations, just some things for me that I've found that, again, when I was kind of questioning post athletic career, what my why was for training and clearly defining why I want to keep showing up. And, these are things you can write down or um, think about, but I think it'll save you from just either kind of going through those waves that we talked about or just showing up to workouts every day, but not being excited or motivated or enjoying it or even seeing the purpose behind it. So some big rocks for me that I've kind of developed over, the past few years, post athletic career, um, just some different things. First of all, competing with myself. So like I said, all of a sudden go from training with a group of people to all of a sudden training on your own. And I think a big piece that gets lost in that is not being able to compete against other people. I think that's a huge motivating factor as an athlete. That's why we do it. We love to compete and stack yourself up against others and um, try to be better than them, try to outperform them. And then when you lose that post athletic career, you don't have those people to compete with. Um, that's something you really lose. And so a big rock for me is just competing with myself. How can I be better than I was yesterday or a month ago or a year ago. And, luckily I kind of had that foundation already from like golf is a great sport for that, especially pursuing that as kind of a side hobby in college. And so it was a pursuit to figure out how I can better my swing and figure out how I can shoot lower scores and just compete about against myself to be the best golfer I can be. And that kind of translated over to weight room and training. So tracking progress in certain lifts or sprint times, mobility, body weight, whatever it is, just having tangible goals that I can compete with myself against and chasing personal growth, kind of that internal motivation rather than those external things or doing it for other people or for, as an athlete, you want to perform for a crowd and then all of a sudden it's just you. And so you kind of have to find that internal thing and not losing that competitive fire, just kind of reapplying it in a different way into competing with yourself in those various ways. So big rock for me, competing with myself. Another one, training for longevity and just quality of life. I think for me, I still have like that competitive fire when I do things where I do get to compete with other people, whether that's playing pickleball or basketball, golf, still playing against other people. Whatever that is, I want to be able to still do that at a decently high level and pain free and not thinking about how much my body hurts or how tired I am or how weak I am. I want to be able to do those things, not just in my 20s, but in my 30s, 40s, 50s, and beyond. Just being active for life and being a competitor for life and just being able to, when I want to do something active, just being able to do it without kind of any second thoughts in my brain or anything holding me back or just not making it as enjoyable. Um, for our athletic career, it's only up until, you know, 18 years old for many of us or 22 years old. There's not many of us that go on to do it as a professional, but that's such a short time span in life. That's, 20 to 25% of your life. But think about the other 75% and what you want that to look like. And, this is more so from a movement perspective, but just overall quality of life. There's so many positive effects that come through exercise. I think it's important to think about that other 75%. In today's day and age, most of us tend to live for a very long time. So what do you want that to look like? And not thinking about just today, but years and decades ahead. What do you want that to look like? And what kind of activities do you want to be able to enjoy not only today, but also beyond? So yeah, just training for longevity and quality of life, another big rock. I think another one from more the spiritual side, like faith and being a good steward and treating your body as a temple and honoring God through movement. Our bodies are a gift. We only get one of them in this lifetime, and how we treat it is a huge deal, in my opinion, especially if you're a Christian. Being a good steward with what God has blessed you with. Our bodies are fascinating in so many different ways. And if we just treat it like trash and it ultimately leads to not operating how it's supposed to, I think that impacts our quality to live out our purpose and serve others better and just be the overall very best version of ourselves and who God created us to be. We miss out on that potential when, we treat our bodies in a poor way and we stop staying active. So just recognizing your body as a gift and not taking that for granted and honoring God by being a good steward with that. And again, I think that translates to other areas of life. If we can be a good steward with that, we can be a good steward with other things, our time, our money, our resources. And so just practicing that in all areas of life is super important and just maximizing your potential and striving to be the very best version of yourself. Another one, kind of the last big rock, just like self-confidence, self-esteem, and energy levels. Um, for me, I've like post-athletic career, I realized how much more productive and energetic I was on days that I trained, and how that kind of suffered when I didn't train. And, that can be, maybe it's the caffeine or, whatever it is. It can be a lot of factors, but I just, whether it's the hormones that get released, or just knowing you did something tough that day, or whatever it is, I've just always found my days to be better when I get that morning workout in, and then just being more productive and energetic and just a better version of myself throughout the rest of the day. Um, and then confidence, like whether that's in, body image or just how I feel about myself. I can be more confident and productive and just a better version of myself when I train consistently and strive to be the best version of myself, whether that's certain qualities, strength, speed, mobility, or physique, or, you know, whatever it is, just striving to be the most confident and best version of yourself, and getting that workout in, and just the mental side of that, being able to boost your energy and self-esteem. It's such a mental boost when you know you're consistent and productive and do hard things on a consistent basis. Huge mental boost. And I think mental health is something that a ton of people struggle with. And I think, there's a lot of factors for that, but one of them is definitely not having a consistently active lifestyle. And exercise is, again, kind of the ultimate magic pill for not only so many health conditions, but our mind, our brain. And so making those, it doesn't have to be a morning thing, but just making it a consistent habit to continuing to show up and train. So many um, confidence, self-esteem, energy, just overall mental health boosts that come from that. So those are kind of my foundational things. Again, maybe I'm missing a couple, but I think it's important to define that. So find your big rocks. What's important to you? Where do you want to be in, years or decades from now? And if you don't have that deep rooted reason, I feel like your motivation will fade, and it'll go through waves rather than being steady. So having those things that you can rely on is a big deal. So that's kind of one side. And then we have those smaller rocks, those side quests, those things that make it fun and engaging and keeping you showing up when, maybe those big foundational things aren't enough to get you excited when, it's 5:30 in the morning and alarm goes off and you don't really feel like getting up. But I think having those side quests, those things to pursue as you go throughout your post athletic career, I think those are the things that keep you coming back and keep it engaging and fun. Um, they give you a reason to train when that big picture uh, feels distant. And I think we're meant to explore and be creative and try new things. I feel like we lose that as we go through our adult life. So just finding those challenges, those side quests, those things that you can enjoy and use to push yourself to keep you coming back. So for me, I mean, just all sorts of different side quests throughout my career. So a couple examples for me, right away after the football career ended, losing weight was a big one. I was 235 to 240 at the time, and I knew I had that whole senior year been thinking, yeah, I know exactly what I'm going to be doing after the athletic career is done, and losing weight is top priority. So that was an easy side quest. It was easy to show up and take care of that, and that one was knocked out relatively quickly. And at least those initial like 20 pounds to get more to a respectable BMI or whatever you want to call it. But that's something I even have pursued more recently, getting down from, at that point it was like 210 to 200, and then 200 to 190 to like 185 ish, where I'm at now. So I had that side quests initially, but there's been different stages throughout it as well. And, maybe it's even gaining weight as a post-college athlete. If, you maybe lost too much, and you want to put on more muscle, have never had the chance to be really big, that can be something that's fun to pursue as well. Other examples, like I hit on the Olympic lifts earlier, like that wasn't something, kind of did some stuff in high school and kind of in and out in college. And I would do some stuff on the side in college, but never really fully pursued Olympic lifts and getting decent at those, especially like pulling from the floor. So it was super fun to experiment with that. Again, you get that freedom to, maybe you see things for how you want to train. And I always enjoy dabbling in the Olympic lifts and getting better at those. And it was fun to pursue that and learn that skill because there is such a huge technical side to those Olympic lifts, especially pulling from the floor and, catching in a full deep squat. And that was something I hadn't, really explored before. So it was fun to pursue that from the technical side and then pushing weights. And, that's something that's still part of my routine. And even more recently, it's been more the landmine side of Olympic lifts. And those have been super fun to pursue as well. So that's one example. And then another one, like sprinting faster. After a bunch of like hamstring strains in high school and college, I got like scared to sprint at a high speed and was, naturally not the most fast guy, but it was fun to try and just be more athletic, sprint faster and uh, jump higher and just being an overall better mover. So that was something I enjoyed pursuing, especially working at different colleges and having some different like devices that I could use to track sprints or track jumps or velocity based training for movements. So those were some fun side quests as well, and still something that's part of routine. Like Arkansas State, another one. I working with the women's basketball team there. I had a goal of trying to be able to dunk, and that was fun to pursue for quite a few months. Got decently close. I think I got a volleyball a few times. Some injuries caught up to me, and then kind of stopped pursuing that. But again, it gave me something that was exciting to train for and kind of change the training emphasis. And yeah, just a skill I've always wanted to do, and uh, yeah, I wasn't super hopeful I'd be able to do it just because I am not the tallest, slightly unathletic white kid. And yeah, I don't know if God designed me to do that, but maybe I'll try pursuing it again at some point. Um, and more recently, mastering different like body weight skills, uh, back bridges, handstands, whatever it is, like Quad Nordics, trying to do that all the way to the ground. Like it's been fun to pursue more of the body weight side, realizing how much like I always thought of strength as squat, bench, clean, and just realizing how much strength there is in like what gymnasts are doing with just their bodies and nothing else, and the blend of strength and mobility that comes from being able to do those things. So that's been fun to pursue, and I love including it in warm ups or cool downs as a way to just explore and see what I can do because the actual sessions are more structured, so it gives some. I always look forward to the warm up and just exploring in that time, or messing around after a workout and just seeing how long I can hold a handstand for. So that's something that's fun to pursue. Um, and then like weight goals. Maybe you want to bench 315 for the first time or squat 500 for the first time, or like for me I got in like a barbell side bending competition, and I had a goal for a while getting to 315, didn't quite get there. I got up to like 295, but it's been a while. But it was fun to pursue that and shoot for that goal of being able to just do a fun and wacky lift for a high amount of weight. And yeah, bench, squat, clean, it can be those things, but also just picking a random lift that you enjoy and just seeing what kind of weight you can get up to. So those are just some examples of side quests that I've chased. again, it can be a specific number or kind of a physique goal or a training style or a skill you want to master. There's so many things that you can pursue, and it keeps training doesn't have to be boring. You don't have to keep showing up and doing the exact same routine every time and not having something concrete to shoot for. So if training is feeling boring, if it's feeling monotonous, find a new challenge for yourself. Like what's a physique goal that you have, or what's a skill you've always thought was cool that you want to try, or an event or competition or race that you can train for and pursue and compete with other people and yourself with. So again, just some small rocks that when you kind of lose sight of that big picture, it just keeps it fun and engaging and keeps you showing up. So, practical side, how can we use these things? How can you use these things to figure out um, what your purpose is, why you should keep showing up and training every day? So, first part, back to those big rocks, identifying those, write them down, reflect, especially if you feel like you're losing motivation or go through seasons of training and not training. Write down your whys, write down your purpose. Just ask yourself some questions. Where do I want to be in 5, 10, 20, 50 years? And what do you want that to look like going forward? How does your health impact the people around you? If you have kids, what kind of example do you want to set for them? If you're in a relationship, how can you be your very best version of yourself for that other person? Or if it's your faith, how can I be a good steward of what God has given me? How can I serve God and develop that relationship by just being a good steward? Ask yourself how your training helps you fulfill just a greater life purpose. It's not just exercise; it's a lifestyle, and how can you make it a part of that? And ask yourself those questions. I like the five whys, if you've ever heard of that. So like, start with why do you train? Answer that. And so if you say, um, I want to have a good physique. Okay. Why do you want to have a good physique? And you can kind of keep going, do that 5 times. And then that can kind of help you ask yourself those questions. You might not have the answers, but it just gets you thinking when instead of just going through the motions, it kind of helps you identify those big rocks and what your overall why is, and kind of things that won't really change as you go throughout life. Maybe you'll add one or two things, or maybe drop one or two things as you go, but just kind of the backbone of why you're doing what you're doing as an athlete. That's to win a championship, to be your most athletic self. Um, but then we often don't define that as a post college athlete. So clearly defining those things and figuring out your why for showing up to train, and then with that, finding those small rocks, those side quests, those goals that you can chase that keep training fun and engaging. So, what's something right now, a skill you've always wanted to learn, a race you can sign up for, um, a weight you want to chase, a physique goal that you have? Think of like 1 to 2 short-term goals that you can chase and write it down and then work backwards from that. What do I need to change in my routine to meet that goal? And then that's going to lead to you, trying some new things and adjusting how you train. And, maybe you realize that you don't enjoy it, but we can learn from all of our experiences, and you can use that experience to figure out what you like and don't like. And maybe you fall in love with something, and that leaks into something else. So just clearly identify a couple of small rocks that you can pursue today or over the next month or next few months, and work backwards from it and train for it, and just see if you can knock out that goal that you have, and then move on and find the next one. And just, it's a continual process. This is something that's gonna hopefully keep changing as you go and keep evolving. So just keep your eyes open for uh for things you want to pursue or skills you want to learn. Um, and then more practical stuff, just make training a lifestyle, not just a habit. It's not something you, again, making it consistent, showing up and doing it every day, it helps with the consistency. But if you don't know why you're doing it, why you're continuing to show up every day, it just doesn't make it as fun. You're not as motivated and you don't know why you're doing what you're doing. So get that mindset. It's not just about, you know, getting back in shape or burning calories or getting that summer body. It can be part of it, but it's got to be bigger than that. It's got to be about being healthy for life, having that physique for life. What can I do consistently to make this a lifelong thing? What's a realistic training schedule that I can stick to on a consistent basis? And maybe that's not training every day like me. Maybe it's, only 2 to 3 times a week, but just finding a routine you can stick to, a training style you can stick to, a schedule that you can stick to, and just be committed to it and make it a non-negotiable for your life, make it a lifestyle. And I think, like I said, it can be lonely. It can be a lonely journey doing that after your athletic career without teammates and coaches to push you, hold you accountable, pursue a goal with. But you can still find a community, whether that's a group class that you're a part of, or having some gym bros to train with, or signing up for a race with someone, or just finding people with similar interests, similar goals, finding a training partner, online community, a class that you can pursue those goals with so you don't have to do it yourself. You have that encouragement. You have those people to hold you accountable and push you to be your best self. And then you don't have to be perfect, but just being consistent and not allowing yourself to skip days consistently. If you need a day off every once in a while or schedule is crazy, that's fine. You don't have to be perfect, but just being great 90% of the time and not letting one missed day, one missed workout list um, trickle into a week of missing workouts and then a month and then never getting back into it. So keep that momentum going, find ways to just show up. And even if it's not a super long workout, whatever it is, just continue to show up and have those goals, those reasons for training. Uh, and if you're struggling with that, if you're struggling to stay consistent or you don't have those people to encourage you or push you, or you're not sure how to find those big rocks or small rocks, that's kind of why sharp training is here. Like, we're here to help um, you know, former college athletes define that. That's why, a big reason why we're doing this podcast and why we offer our programs, is to just help people out there who are struggling with that or just want to get hands off with their programming, or just want to be the best versions of themselves. Allow Jaden and I to help you. It's what we're passionate about. We love this stuff. We love doing it in our own lives. We want to also help other people find that and define these things for themselves, not to rely on us, but to just have that community, those teammates, those coaches to pursue things with. So we have plenty of, group programs with different goals. If you want to be a more athletic version of yourself, sharp athlete, or if you want to get that physique, certain weight loss goal, we have our body program. Or if you want to be a better mover, more mobile, more pain free, we have our sharp movement plan. And maybe you have a super specific goal that you want to train for. We can do custom programs as well. We can work with you and help you figure out what you're training for, to fit your goals and reignite that competitive fire. And, train for longevity and pain-free movement, and helping you find a new challenge, a motivation that excites you, and having that accountability factor, those people to encourage you and check in with you, and having a program to follow so you don't have to worry about that. That can be something that helps you be consistent and make it more sustainable. So if you're looking for that, um, we'd love to help. That's why we're doing this. So reach out to us, sign up for a program, let us know if you have questions, and we'd love to help you find these motivations, these goals for you, how we can work backward from that and structure some some programming that fits that. And yeah, if you need guidance, just reach out. Yeah, training doesn't have to end after sports. It just kind of has to evolve. It's going to look different. You're not going to be chasing uh, championships or maybe being super athletic for your whole life. But I think it is important to identify those goals, those motivations, just as with anything else, whether it's, um, a business or whatever it is. Like you have to have a clear goal in mind, and that's no different with training. You have an opportunity to train for a lifetime in a way that serves you and fits your likes, your unique likes and dislikes, what you're good at, what you're bad at. And so whether that's running, CrossFit, lifting weights, powerlifting, whatever it is, just finding that training style and that fits you and is sustainable for you, and that's gonna probably evolve over time. So just again, just being open to making changes as you go. And then, yeah, find those big rocks, write those down, remember those, use that as your backbone, and then find those side quests to make it more engaging, fun, challenging, keep you showing up, and just make training a lifelong pursuit, make it a lifestyle. We all know the benefits of it. We don't need to rehash those, but it's more about the mental side. Starts with your brain, figuring out, okay, what do I need to change mentally so that I can keep showing up, make it fun. Because I think it can be fun for everyone, and not everyone's gonna love it like I do or like Jaden does, but you don't have to hate it either. And so there's ways that we can make it more engaging and fun and motivating. So figure those out today. And if you're having struggles identifying those, reach out to me and Jaden and let us know if we can help you out. So thanks for tuning in and listening to me ramble for 45-ish minutes. Hopefully we'll be back with a guest next week. But appreciate you tuning in, and hopefully this was thought-provoking and encouraging and informative for you. So appreciate you tuning in. Till next time, deuces.
Thanks for listening to the show. If you enjoyed today's episode, leave a rating, review, or tell a friend to check us out. Be sure to follow us at SHRP_training for more content to help you be your best self. Go be great today.